Never been to Hollywood Studios? Need to know where to find everything to plan your next trip? Let's go explore Hollywood Studios together. I'm here at Hollywood Studios today to walk you through anything and everything that you can find here in the park to help you better plan your next trip to Disney World. So we have just tapped into Hollywood Studios, and so that's going to bring us first to Hollywood Boulevard. Hollywood Boulevard is the entrance here to Hollywood Studios. Former Disney CEO Michael Eisner actually wanted to create like his own version of Main Street USA, but make it a little bit more Hollywood-esque, a little bit more Hollywood appropriate. So first things first, when you get into Hollywood Studios, over here on your right is Oscars. It's Oscars Super Service. So this is where you're going to grab your stroller rentals, ECV rentals, wheelchair rentals, and sometimes, if you're really lucky, over here next to Oscars, you might catch a smiling Donald Duck or two. Sometimes Daisy is up here with Donald. She must be a little bit busy this morning. It's still pretty early. Also, in case you need to know, right here below Donald, there are restrooms. Pro tip, these are great ones, and they're not super busy because they are kind of here off to the side. And the center focal point when you first walk into Hollywood Studios, you're gonna see Crossroads of the World. And if you don't know, way up there is Mickey Mouse on top of the world, because it's just Mickey's world and we're all just living in it. But here at Crossroads, this is like a small souvenir stand. It has ears, keychains, pins, and information. So if you're not sure where you're headed and you don't really remember everything that we talk about in this video, because it's a lot, you can even find maps here to help you get around Hollywood Studios. Closer to the exit is Movie Land Memorabilia. It's a really small shop. It just has plushes, hats, very small souvenirs. It's not huge, but if you're on your way out of the park and you see that last minute thing that you want to grab, right there it is. And luckily for us, right next to Movie Land Memorabilia is guest relations. So if you have any issues with your Genie Plus, your park tickets, anything, this is where they're gonna take good care of you. The Baby Care Center is also here in case that's something you might need. Right over here next to me is Sikahunia's one-of-a-kind antiques photographer of the stars. This is the main spot where you're gonna find the Disney Photo Pass shop, but what I like so much about this shop is that it has like the neatest backstory, in my opinion, here in Hollywood Studios. He and his wife Rosie moved to Hollywood in the 1920s because they wanted to be close to like the building movie industry. The couple bought a huge piece of vacant land at the edge of town, and they built this small little home, as you can see on the side of it. Hollywood absolutely blew up, and within a few years their house was surrounded by movie studios, stores, restaurants, offices, like all the big shebangs. He was a super movie fan, Sid was, and he had a lot of movie memorabilia. He was living there. People were just throwing stuff away and he was going and collecting it. So he took all of his extra, you know, movie memorabilia, his posters, his lobby cards, props, all of these things that he could find, and he put them on his porch with a price tag. Business absolutely flourished. I mean, it blew up, and it was that way for a really long time, decades even. And in all that time, Sid and Rosie never moved from their sweet little home. The dark room. So what is the dark room? It's going to be the first shop that you find here on your right when you go into Hollywood Studios, and mainly it's pins and magic bands. Magic Band Plus, fancy. But not just Magic Band Plus, they do have regular Magic Bands too. If you don't know this about me, I'm an avid pin collector. I have spent so much money in this store, it would be embarrassing if I had to share it with you. I've been keeping through the dark room. Here's all the absolute ears that you could want. And hats. Oh, Encanto ears. Do I buy those right now? I might need to. Oh, and these Haunted Mansion ears. Oh my gosh, I need to keep eyes on the prize. We are here to focus. Okay, so one thing you need to know about Hollywood Studios stores is that they all connect. So this next store, we just entered a new one. 75 and 10 is where you're gonna find like a lot of your home decor, little apparel that, you know, again, there's gonna be some ears in here, ornaments, all the good jazz. And there's going to be Loungeflies and the Vault collection for the 50th celebration. So if you're here before the end of March 2023, you can still find the Disney Vault collection because Disney will still be celebrating the 50th up until that point. And that's where you're going to find the biggest collection of the 50th merch. Of course, that's not going to be the only place here in Hollywood Studios that you can find 50th merch, but this is going to be the biggest one-stop shop. So on Hollywood Boulevard, the first store you're going to find when you go to your left is going to be Mickey's of Hollywood. Mickey's of Hollywood is kind of like the mini version of the Emporium, in my opinion. It has like 50th stuff, Mickey stuff, Newimo's, lounge flies, ears. There's a lot of things. It's lots of apparel, and it's not super specific to just one thing. Like Star Wars, it's not super specific to Tower, you know. It's kind of like that one-stop shop. Mickey things, Newimo things, more ears, apparel, you know. A good blend. T-shirts. This is the great place to also check, like if you're not sure, you've been thinking about what you want all day, but you want to kind of scope out your options all at once, this might be a good place to do that. Now we left Mickey's of Hollywood, and straight in front of us is going to be Keystone Clothiers. Keystone Clothiers is actually one of my favorite stores here in Hollywood Studios, and that's because it's a little bit more specific. It has, you know, some things that you're not going to find everywhere, and that's going to be like Marvel and Star Wars items. This is going to be the biggest store in Hollywood Studios to find Marvel things. You know, Marvel, you don't find as much of it throughout the parks as other like Star Wars things or just Mickey and Minnie things, but this is going to be a great place to stop if you're looking for a lot of Marvel. They've got tons of it right now. This is, you know, they always kind of fluctuate what they have. Lots of Spider-Man and Thor. The newest Wakanda collection is also here. So lots of Marvel stuff here in the front half of the store. And then if you go to the back, you kind of get into the Star Wars stuff, which, if you don't know, a little bit of a spoiler, we're going to see a lot of Star Wars stuff today. The Trolley Car Cafe. This is one of my favorite places in Hollywood Studios. And why is that? It's Disney Hollywood Studios' resident Starbucks. That's right, baby. It's just a Starbucks. But who doesn't love a good coffee, especially when you're on like day 6 of your Disney journey? You've slept for 3 hours a night. You don't know what you're doing. You're gonna need this place. You're gonna need this one-stop shop. So it has coffee, breakfast item, treats, you know, other things. They do have like some Disney specific things. So there's like a Mickey cookie here. They have like the normal cake pops, and they actually have the carrot cake cookie, which is a really big fan favorite treat here. So we're gonna keep going down Hollywood Boulevard, and we're actually gonna take a little bit of a right past this delish popcorn stand. And although we're going a little bit to our right, we are still on Hollywood Boulevard. And we are going to go to what I think is the nicest restaurant in Hollywood Studios, no question, and one of the nicest restaurants in Disney World. And this is the Hollywood Brown Derby. So the Hollywood Brown Derby is based off of the Brown Derby restaurant that you can find in actual Hollywood. It kind of recaptures Hollywood's like golden era when you eat here. It's a table service restaurant, and it's recreated to be like the famous Brown Derby restaurant that you can find in Hollywood. It is a pricier restaurant, can't lie to you there. They have a lot of menu highlights, but two of their most famous things are the grapefruit martini and the grapefruit cake that you can find. And if you're not able to grab reservations, or maybe you're not looking to do a full sit down, right out here, which you can tell it's a little bit early because this isn't even open yet, is the Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge. So you can get the full menu here. There is a full bar, and it's first come, first serve, whoever walks up. It opens at 11 a.m. So if you're wanting to try that grapefruit cake and martini without having to do the entire sit down, the lounge would actually be a really great option. So here is the very end of Hollywood Boulevard, and it is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This is the recreation of the Chinese theater from Hollywood. It is a pretty exact replication, actually, and inside it is the Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway ride. This ride takes you into the cartoon with Mickey and Minnie and Pluto and Goofy, and it's pretty crazy. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but let's just say there's some hijinks that ensue. It's not just like a simple, you know, picnic like you would hope, but it's a lot of fun. One of my favorites, one of the newer rides here in Hollywood Studios. It just opened in March 2020, and it's a trackless ride, which means it's brand new technology too, which is really amazing. Right here is the exit to Mickey and Minnie, where there is a gift shop, and then there is a stand where you can get pretzels, churros, just a few basic things. Outside of Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway is these handprints. So because we're in Hollywood, they did have to recreate all of the famous, you know, celebrity handprints, and these are all real. While they might not be the exact version, they did have these celebrities come in and make these handprints, and they have recreations of them out here to keep the real ones safe in storage. but they even have some of my favorite person, Kermit the Frog and Jim Henson. So this one's from 1989. Somebody stepped on Kermit's face. Oh, poor Kermie. They will sometimes switch them in and out, depending on how long one has been out here, if they're looking frayed, if they need to be taken care of. And one fun fact that I think is just amazing is that they do have the official handprints of Miss Audrey Hepburn herself. Audrey Hepburn was actually never asked to do handprints in front of the real Chinese theater, and so Disney asked her to do it first. She was so honored that Disney would even ask her or think of her that she later was asked by the real Chinese theater, and she turned them down because they didn't ask her before Disney. So Disney has the only true handprints of Audrey Hepburn, and I just think that's really cool. Not only am I a fan of her, but I'm a fan of Disney, and it just gives me chills to know that they would think of her in that way and respect her so much. This is the next section here in Hollywood Studios. This one is Sunset Boulevard. This is where you're gonna find a lot of really fun stores, probably some of the most famous rides here in Hollywood Studios, and a few snacks or two. Okay, so the first store you're gonna get into here on Sunset Boulevard is Beverly Sunset. So this is actually just recently reopened. It has been closed for a long time since COVID. They recently reopened it, and so now it's Pixar, Toy Story, Turning Red, lots of fun things, and we're gonna take a peek inside. So lots of Turning Red merchandise. Oh, I love that 4-Town t-shirt. There's even some Cars merch in here, if you're into Lightning McQueen and things. So right here actually is the backside of the Trolley Car Cafe also, and it does have some seating, and it's very shady in the mornings if that's something you're looking for, pro tip. But here, Legends of Hollywood, is going to be the first store on your right on Sunset Boulevard, and this is where you're going to find Pandora, Dooney and Burke, Coach collections, lots of apparel. So first things first is the Pandora, and then over here you have some of the new Coach collection. They also have some ears. And then just lots and lots of apparel. Loungeflies, Dooney and Burke, the entire Color Me Courtney collection, all based around Princess Tiana. As you leave Legends of Hollywood, there is another restroom stop over here. It's kind of tucked in the back, so you might not see it right away. And then across from Legends of Hollywood is Sunset Club Couture. So this store is mainly Disney apparel. This is probably the best place to find a large selection of Loungeflies too. Tons of Loungeflies, lots of options. I need all of them. And then they actually have a pretty large ear selection here too. Once you cross through, you are now in the Once Upon a Time store. So they have 50th anniversary things here. They have lots of toys, a big t-shirt selection, and lots of things for your pets, your little furry friends. They have lots of that here as well. I have a dog, her name is Pepper, and she's the love of my life, and I want to buy her all of this. Oh, especially the Baby Yoda costume. This building, this store, is actually based off of the Carthy movie theater. So if you're not familiar with what the Carthy movie theater is, it was a movie theater that was in Hollywood, and it was the movie theater where Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs premiered. And that was actually a really big deal. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the first full-length animated feature, and a lot of people did not think it would be successful at all, so a lot of movie theaters wouldn't play it. The Carthy Theater was willing to play it. The rest is history. The Theater of Stars. How beautiful is that? That is where you're gonna find Beauty and the Beast live on stage. This is a really amazing live action retelling of Beauty and the Beast with some amazing live entertainment performers. They just recently, as of this summer, kind of brought it back to where it was pre-COVID. So it's a really awesome show. Highly recommend checking that out. And it is an outdoor theater, and you can bring food and drinks in there, so it's a great time to have some lunch and watch a really good show. This is home of the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater, which is where you're gonna find Fantasmic. It is the nighttime show here in Hollywood Studios where you get to go into Mickey's dreams, but then all of a sudden the villains take over, and now it's his nightmares. But he's Mickey Mouse, and you can ensure that some magic is probably gonna happen. So we are walking past now the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater, and we are going to go down here to the end, to the Tower of Terror. Also, I'm going to point out right here along this wall, more restrooms. And it might be silly. You think, Emma, nobody needs to know where they are. Yes, they do. So there she is, the Hollywood Tower Hotel. I hope nothing's wrong with the elevators. And this is a ride that is a terrifying, emphasis on terrifying, elevator drop that takes you into the Twilight Zone. It's really fun. You do need to be 40 inches or taller to enjoy this one. If you're a little bit afraid of heights like me, this is maybe one to consider skipping or maybe trying at the end of your day. But it's a lot of fun, and even though I am scared of it, I have a ton of fun on it. This long, lovely line right here is the one for the Joffreys. So this is one of 2 Joffreys here in Hollywood Studios. Joffrey's has coffee, espresso, pastries, all the good stuff. I really love Joffrey's. It's Disney. It's not a Disney exclusive, but it is a Florida-based company, and it is Disney's #1, I guess, coffee partner. They kind of tie with Starbucks there, but it's really delicious and definitely a favorite of mine. So then we are going to go here into the Tower Hotel gift shop. This is the exit to the Tower of Terror, and where you're going to find a lot of that Tower of Terror merchandise in this gift shop. They do actually have some Haunted Mansion things, as well as the Nightmare Before Christmas. This is actually one of the biggest places to find Nightmare Before Christmas merchandise. So if that's something you like and you're looking for something specific with them, this is going to be a great place to double check and see if they have it. You head back into here. This is where people are getting off the ride. But if you have somebody who maybe they don't want to ride the ride or they're looking to skip, this is going to be a great place to hang out in the shade. If you have kiddos who maybe don't want to wait the whole time and they're getting a little bit bored, a little bit antsy, you can do a little scavenger hunt through this area. The cast members here at the PhotoPass station will have that, or you can ask the cast members at the checkout. They also have coloring pages if your kiddo is still a little bit antsy and you need something to do. So, pro tip for you guys who maybe you want to kill some time or your kiddos want to kill some time. Keep your eyes peeled while you're back here, because you actually might see Goofy and sometimes Max, his son, if you're really paying attention. They love to hang out up here. If you're in line, you can maybe catch them if you're in line for Tower of Terror, or if you're not looking to stand in line the whole time, you can also catch him hanging out over the balcony. We're going to head into the Rock and Roller Courtyard. It is still part of the Sunset Boulevard area. It's just kind of its own little separate part here in the back. Here in the Rock and Roller Courtyard, there are a handful of things to keep your eyes peeled for, the main one being Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. So this is an Aerosmith themed roller coaster where you can get 5 potential songs as you're racing through Hollywood trying to make it to an Aerosmith concert. This is a super fun coaster. It does go upside down and you do need to be at least 48 inches tall or taller to ride it, but it's a lot of fun. One of my favorites here, and I used to work here, so I am completely biased. To the left of the coaster is the Rock Your Face, which is a face painting stand where you or your kiddos or whomever, you and your friends, can get some really fun face paint. There's also KR&R, the rock station where you can eat to the beat. They have corn dog nuggets, frozen Cokes, frozen lemonades, lots of really fun walk-up things. There is not a seating area, but it is good for snacks. And then to my right is the Shop and Roll, where you can get pins, waters, misting fans, hats, sunglasses, lots of little things that you might need here to my right, in front of still Rock and Roller Coaster. Another stand right here next to the entrance of G-Force Records, which is where you get into Rock and Roller Coaster, is the Pretzel Palooza. It's Mickey cheese pretzels, sweet cream cheese pretzels, cheddar jalapeno pretzels, lots of pretzels, okay? If you really want to just down some delicious cheese pretzels and then go upside down 3 times, that is the perfect place to stop. So back here in the section past KR&R is the Rock Around the Shop store. You can go up through here, up this ramp, and this is going to be where you're going to find all of your Rock and Roller Coaster merch, some Disney apparel, some phone cases, some magnets. There's not a ton of it. You also can find drumsticks here, which, if you don't know, I love drumsticks after my scavenger hunt in our 2022 scavenger hunt tournament, because it is how I beat Fry Bucket. Spoiler alert, I can't believe I did it. So I love these drumsticks now. Right behind Rock and Roller Coaster in the Sunset Showcase is Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. So this is a show where Lightning McQueen teaches you how to become the ultimate racer at his racing academy, but it's not quite what you would think. A few things happen and maybe somebody hijacks the training simulator. It gets pretty crazy. It is a really fun show. It's something that I really enjoy, even though it might be tailored to kiddos. Everyone can enjoy this. I know that I really do, and it's only a 10-minute show with lots of AC, so a great place to hang out if you're looking for a quick break for you or your kiddos. You also can meet Cruz Ramirez here in the courtyard and DJ. Hollywood Scoops Ice Cream. So this is just an ice cream shop, but they have some fun little things that you can grab. A lot of good seasonal things. You can get waffle platters, Joffrey coffee here. You can get beverages with alcohol here. Pro tip to those who are 21 and up. So right next to it though is Fairfax Fair. If you're craving a hot dog or a specialty hot dog, this is absolutely the place to go. It is not open all day. It is only open from 11 to 4, but you can mobile order here and it's just good hot dogs. Going past Fairfax Fair, we are passing the Sunset Ranch Market. So here at the market, there are actually 2 options and lots of seating area right here. So if you need seating for your lunch, Sunset Ranch Market is going to be a great place to go. And you can see 2 food options here in the back that we'll go talk about. One of the options here in the back of the Sunset Ranch Market is Catalina Eddie's. This is where you're going to find pizza, Caesar salads, some sangria, maybe some specialty desserts every now and again. This is also not open until 11, but it is open until the park closes, unlike Fairfax Fair. And then to the left of Catalina Eddie's is Rosie's All-American Cafe. This has your classic cheeseburgers, french fries, chicken tenders, all the, good normal theme park options. This also has mobile order pickup, and it will also have some fun seasonal treats depending on when you're here. First thing we're going to pass here on our right as we're going back down Sunset is the Sunset Ranch Pins and Souvenirs. So this is mainly your pin stop here on Sunset. They have lots of pins. They have pin accessories like lanyards, backpacks, extra pin backs if you need them. They do have some hats. They have some drinks, just a quick walkthrough shop. Next to the Pins and Souvenirs stop is Anaheim Produce. This is where you're going to find some cuties, frozen margaritas, craft beers, frozen lemonades, fruit, hot pretzels, pickles. This is just kind of a grab-and-go stand. There's not a ton of options here, but there's also not normally long lines here, so that's great to know. And then to the left of it is the Sunshine Day Bar. This is where you're going to grab your ice-cold refreshments. This is another place that is a quick walk-up. It does not have a lot of options. It doesn't have a lot of variety, but there's not really ever long lines here, and they have some good drinks. So if you're looking to grab a drink and then drop into the Twilight Zone, this is probably going to be your #1 place to go. So past Sunshine Day Bar is a DVC, Disney Vacation Club member information stand. If you're ever curious to learn more about the Disney Vacation Club, that's there. And then that leads us back to the Beverly Sunset Boutique. We just finished Sunset. We are now going to go under this Disney's Hollywood Studio sign and archway, and that is going to take us into Animation Courtyard. So the thing about this that I think is really neat is this area originally, back when Hollywood Studios opened as MGM Studios, this is where you would enter to see the actual park's active production studios. If you didn't know, they used to actually make movies here. That was part of the draw and part of the cool thing about MGM Studios. The entrance here marked kind of a squared studio arch, if you will, just like real-life Hollywood Studios lots that marked the entrances. So here in this area of the Animation Courtyard is where you're going to find a few fun little Disney Junior meet and greets. You can find Vampirina, Doc McStuffins, and Pluto out here. So if you're looking for a fun meet and greet for maybe those younger kiddos who love Disney Junior, this is going to be the place to check that out. Disney Junior actually is only represented here in Hollywood Studios, just so that way you know. Right next to those meet and greets is the Disney Junior Dance Party. The Disney Junior Dance Party is where you can join Doc McStuffins, Vampirina, Timon, and Mickey for a very high-energy musical celebration. It's actually a 25-minute show. You do have to sit on the ground. They have a few benches in the back for maybe parents who don't quite want to sit with their kiddos right on the floor, but mainly you are sitting on the ground, but it's 25 minutes, lots of AC, and the kids absolutely love it. They have lots of show times that are here to the left, and you can also find those show times on My Disney Experience. To the left of the Disney Junior Dance Party is the Star Wars Launch Bay experience. This is where you can meet your classic Star Wars characters that you might not find in Galaxy's Edge, like Darth Vader, BB-8, and Chewbacca. So that's the main experience here. There is some memorabilia in the back, and you can see some really cool posters, but that's mainly what you're going to find here at Star Wars Launch Bay. And it's my favorite because Darth Vader's here. Also, in case you're curious, more restrooms here to the back, to the left of Star Wars Launch Bay. A lot of people don't know these are back here, so pro tip. these are good ones. Past Star Wars Launch Bay is the studio store. This previously had a lot of Little Mermaid merch and Disney Junior merchandise. This has not opened since the pandemic, and right next to that store is the in-character store. Same vibes, same type of merchandise, and again, it also has not reopened since the pandemic. Heading back a little bit closer to that Hollywood Studios arch is the Voyage of the Little Mermaid show. So this is a stage show that uses some really cool puppets and live actors to retell the story of the Little Mermaid. Unfortunately though, for all of us, it hasn't reopened since 2020. This has not reopened since the pandemic. Disney's really given no word on if it will reopen, and if it does, when. So of course, you know, AllEars will keep you updated on that. Make sure to check out AllEars.net to see if we have any updates. Right now we don't, but you never know. We are now going to walk past Voyage of the Little Mermaid, and there's a little pathway back through here, through the back. This is what is considered, it is still considered part of the animation courtyard, but it's often referred to as Mickey Avenue. To the left is some stairs. These stairs actually take you from Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway down to this area, so you don't necessarily have to walk through animation courtyard unless you just really want to, but I think it's fun. Look around, check it out, especially if you're a Star Wars fan or a Disney Junior fan. At the end of Mickey Avenue here is Walt Disney Presents, from Mickey Mouse to the Magic Kingdom and beyond. It's an exhibit actually that still tells the story of Walt Disney. It has a short film at the end called One Man's Dream that is actually narrated by the Julie Andrews. It's really neat. It has a lot of things that show you how Walt Disney went from who he was as a little boy to what we see everything around us today, how he made it all happen. Also in the back of Walt Disney Presents is the Meet Sully meet and greet, where you can see Sully from Monsters Inc. And that line can get pretty long, so if that's something you want to do, make sure to head back here to One Man's Dream. We're going to head into Pixar Place. And, pro tip, restrooms right outside of Pixar Place. There you go. So Pixar Place is actually the smallest area in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Previously, this area kind of served as the entrance to Toy Story Mania way back in the day, even when I was a child. I do actually remember that. So right over here, this is where the entrance to Toy Story Mania was prior to the opening of Toy Story Land, where they rerouted it, and now you can walk in inside Toy Story Land. But this here at Pixar Play Place is where also you used to get Jack Jack's Num Num cookies, and you could meet Edna Mode. Well, none of that has come back since the pandemic. It is still closed, but you can see Edna the Incredibles and some of our favorite toys in the Pixar Cavalcade. If you want to check that out, the times for that is in My Disney Experience. So really, Pixar Place is empty. There's not much back here, but there are lots of benches and lots of shade. And if you don't already know, this is one of Quincy's favorite places to hang out. One thing to know is right here at the entrance of the Pixar Place is the second Joffrey's Coffee that you can find here in Hollywood Studios. The line is a little bit longer, but they'll get you through it pretty quickly. And the market over here. So since Jack's Num Num Cookies area has closed over here, you can actually get those cookies there at the marketplace now. You can also get drinks, popcorn, snacks, and then if you're looking for a coffee, right next to it is Joffrey's. Now we are headed into the land where you can literally shrink down to the size of a toy and play in Andy's backyard. So here at the entrance of Toy Story Land, because that's where we are right now, you might even find Buzz Lightyear meet and greet. So here's Buzz Lightyear hanging out with us. And then there's this gigantic statue of our favorite Sheriff Cowboy, Mr. Woody himself. So right past Woody over here, you're going to find what is right now just construction, but at some point in 2022, it will eventually be the Rodeo Roundup Barbecue. This is going to be a new table service that has a barbecue themed menu. It is still slated to open in 2022. Obviously not open quite yet, but should open at some point this year. Right next to the Rodeo Roundup Barbecue is Slinky Dog Dash. There he goes. He's Slinky Doggin'. He is dashing. Look at him go. I love you, Slinky. So this roller coaster is a roller coaster where you get to ride on Slinky Dog's back himself. It's Slinky Dog. Can you believe that? And this is actually a track that Andy himself built in the backyard so you guys can play. This is super family friendly. You do need to be at least 38 inches tall to ride it, but I think it's a great first baby kind of coaster, and it's one that I really enjoy even as an adult. So if Slinky Dog is on our right, that means Toy Story Mania is going to be over here on our left. Toy Story Mania is the original Toy Story ride that you could find here in Hollywood Studios. This is even pre-Toy Story Land. That's how original Toy Story Mania is. Toy Story Mania is a 4D shooting game where you can see a lot of your Toy Story favorites, such as Woody, Bo Peep, Jessie, Buzz, all of the bests. It is a lot of fun. It's kind of like a more updated version of the Buzz Lightyear game that you would find over in Magic Kingdom. It's lots of screens, tons of fun. There is no height requirement for this one, so anybody can enjoy it. But be prepared. Your arms might fall off because this is a serious game. So over in Toy Story, you're going to find the iconic Toy Story big bouncy ball, and to the left of it, you're going to find a pathway. It might not look like you can walk back here, but you can. Here we are. This is Jessie's Trading Post. So this is the exit to Toy Story Mania. This is the store that you're going to head through. It is fairly new. It just opened a few months ago. And this is going to be one of your best places to check out some of that Toy Story merchandise. Each character actually does have a little section. So if you're looking for a Buzz-themed merchandise item, they're going to be here. They even have their own little signs. There's a Pizza Planet section. There's even a Zurg section if you're feeling a little evil today. Up here to the right, we are passing what is a nice little drink stand, some fun little toys that you can find at Jessie's Trading Post. But what really matters is what's up here at the end. This is Slinky Dog. This is where you're gonna hop in line for that one. And it's up here back at the end and the entrance. One pro tip about Slinky Dog, this has one of the hottest lines. Even if you're in the shade, it's still pretty warm because you're all stuck together. So be prepared, grab some water, and maybe a cooling towel or a fan before you hop in line for Slinky. This is one of the most popular rides here in Hollywood Studios, so be prepared to wait for a little while if you're not utilizing Genie Plus. If you are utilizing Genie Plus, just know that this one is one that we recommend you grab first because it will go fastest during the day. Now it's time to check out the quick service here in Toy Story Land, and that is going to be Woody's Lunchbox. So Woody's Lunchbox is the quick service here in Toy Story Land. It has sandwiches, soup, and their famous tachos. They're really just tater tots in my opinion, with some really delicious chili and cheese on top. They are super good, and they also have a Woody's Grown Up Lemonade here, which is an alcoholic beverage that is delicious. It's one of my favorites here in Hollywood Studios. There is not a ton of seating here, so they do make you show your mobile order or you have to get in line to grab a seat over here in the shade. The lines can get pretty long and the mobile order times can go pretty quick. So if you know that you want to eat at Woody's Lunchbox and you kind of know what time, I would actually recommend ordering earlier in the day so that way you can guarantee that you get that spot that you want. Across the walkway is Alien Swirling Saucers. It is another ride here in Toy Story Land. And Alien Swirling Saucers is a saucer spinning ride that rotates, and you can hear some fun updated versions of classic Toy Story songs. You do need to be at least 32 inches to ride this one. And if you don't want to wait in a super long line to meet Buzz in real life, you also have this cool statue to take pictures with over here. Across from Alien Swirling Saucers is actually the only restroom here in Toy Story Land, and that wraps up all of Toy Story Land for us. So here we are, we have made it to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So Galaxy's Edge does take place on the remote world of Batuu. If you haven't been to Batuu, it's pretty cool. The storyline of Batuu, if you're into Star Wars and you're curious about kind of when this story takes place, it's during the one-year gap between the events of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. So you're gonna see a lot of those characters, so like Rey, Finn, Kylo Ren, all of those. This land is the newest one here in Hollywood Studios. It opened in 2019, and it is probably one of the most immersive, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. So our first stop here is going to be right here at the entrance where we came in, and this is Mubo's Droid Depot. So here is where you can build your own droid. Appointments are definitely recommended, but on slower days, if you're here and the crowds aren't too crazy, you can check with a cast member and see if a walk-up list is available if you weren't able to snag that reservation, or maybe you decide you want to do it day of. You also can find some droids that you can buy, or some droid-themed apparel. And if maybe you don't want to build your own droid, but you want to see what it's like, you can watch other people as they build their droids. If you're curious, this is going to be our first restroom that we're going to find here in Galaxy's Edge, right here to the right. Galaxy's Edge also has a few stops where you can fill up your water bottle. That's right over here to the left. Hydration is key, so of course I highly recommend it.
Supreme Leader!
The spy was trapped here. A small outpost on a small planet. Your mission was clear.
I suggest as you carry on with your business in Batu, you keep this in mind.
Clear this path.
On with your
The
day.
dark side calls. Will you turn against the light? I don't think you grasp the consequences.
Right here is the milk stand. This is where you can grab that iconic blue and green milk. If you're curious as to what that is, if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, it's just this type of milk that they drink in the movies that people are really obsessed with, and you can grab here in Hollywood Studios. Also, if you're concerned, it is not actual milk. It is like a rice coconut milk, so not really dairy. You can enjoy it. It's a very interesting flavor. The green and the blue do have two different flavors. I actually kind of enjoy them both, but I think I prefer the blue more. If you've ever had it, which one do you prefer? Let me know. So here is the first order cargo. If you're looking to grab your Stormtrooper gear, this is the place to do it. All of your first order merchandise is going to be right here. Fun t-shirts. I mean, they have Stormtrooper handcuffs, Stormtrooper helmets, costumes, outfits, flags, the whole shebang. So right here where the crowd is, I made my way over here because this is the most famous bar in the galaxy. This is Oga's Cantina. You can stop into the bar with fun drinks, and they even have a few small bite options if you're interested. We do highly recommend trying to grab a reservation for this spot. They can be a little bit hard to come by, but if you don't get one and maybe it's a bit of a slower day, they do actually have a walk-up list depending on how crowded the park is. So maybe, you know, don't lose all hope until you see how crowded the park is when you get here for your park day. So right here is the Millennium Falcon itself. I know, I couldn't believe it either. I mean, look at it. It is amazing. But what's even more exciting about this version of the Millennium Falcon is that right over here is the entrance to the ride, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. So this is one of the rides here in Galaxy's Edge. You get to go on the Millennium Falcon itself, and you get to try to help Hondo Ohnaka grab a few coaxium containers. It's pretty stressful. It's a lot of fun. You can actually be a gunner, an engineer, or the pilot of the Millennium Falcon. And if that's not as Star Wars as it gets, I don't know what is. This is super fun. It is a simulation ride. It's almost like a bigger, more Star Wars version of Mission Space over in Epcot. It's amazing. There she is. That's Rey. There she, Rey herself. She's just looking around. Nobody's acknowledging that that's Rey. Rey? Okay, well, while Rey checks out Galaxy's Edge, I guess I'm going to tell you about Docking Bay 7. Hello. Rey just said hello to me. Past Millennium Falcon and up those stairs, you're going to find yourself at Docking Bay 7. Docking Bay 7 is the quick service here in Galaxy's Edge. It has the famous Ronto wraps and other out-of-this-world dishes, just like the roasted Endorian chicken salad, smoked Kadoo pork ribs, tuna poke bowls, lots of fun stuff. And fun fact, if you didn't know, this is where Fry Bucket used to work when she was a cast member here in Hollywood Studios. Over here to the left is going to be Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities. That's a bit of a mouthful. So this is actually a shop here in Galaxy's Edge where you can find some really special lightsabers of your favorite characters, which you do have to wait in line for if you want to see the lightsabers. But if you're not looking for just lightsabers, you can walk right on in. And it has more Star Wars merchandise like this Princess Leia costume. They also offer mobile checkout here, and they even have Doc Ondar himself overlooking the lightsabers. So one of the things about Doc's is they do have the really special lightsabers, but to see the lightsabers you do need to stand in line. If you're not checking out those lightsabers, you don't have to stand in line, but you also cannot see the lightsabers once you're inside the store. So just something to be aware of. So right here, this is the entrance to Savi's workshop. But now, why is that a big deal, and why is this something that's so popular here? This is where you get to build your own lightsaber. This is a huge thing here in Galaxy's Edge. People love getting to do this experience. It is on the pricier side, but it's also so customizable. And if you're a Star Wars fan, I think it's maybe a must-do if you're willing to spend the money and you love lightsabers. You do absolutely need reservations for this. This does not have a walk-up the way that the Droid Depot does, but it is a hugely popular experience, and you can definitely check out My Disney Experience to see if there are any reservations for that. So this area that we are about to walk in right here is called Ronto Roasters. Ronto Roasters is another quick service here in Galaxy's Edge where you can grab the famous Ronto wrap. It is not open all day though, so that's something to be aware of, but you can still grab that Ronto wrap over at Docking Bay 7 until the park is closed. Our next stop over in Galaxy's Edge is going to be the Black Spire Marketplace. Now this has a few stops and we're gonna look in all of them. It's one of my favorite places here in Galaxy's Edge because this is where you're gonna get your shopping done. Katsaka's Kettle offers some out-of-this-world specialty popcorn that you can only get here, and they have this specialty cold brew black calf, which you can actually get spiked if you're interested. It is one of my favorite coffee options here in Galaxy's Edge, and it is delicious. So across the way from Katsaka's is actually the Jewels of Bith. This is where you're going to find a lot of that Black Spire Outpost merch. That's just kind of Black Spire generic merch, but it's not huge, but there's a lot of fun options. Right here is the Black Spire Outfitters. This is where you're going to find your Jedi robes, some other Mandalorian accessories. This is the Toydarian Toy Shop. This is where you're going to find small plushes of your favorite characters and some other really unique toys that you can only find in Galaxy's Edge. Bina's Creature Stall. So this is where you're going to find a lot of your own take-home galactic creatures, if you will. So like things like porgs you can find here. You can even take one home yourself. Kind of like a galactic pet store, if you will. So the Creature Stall is actually the last shop here in the marketplace, but if you are interested, there are actually another set of restrooms here in Galaxy's Edge over here to my right, and sometimes if you're paying attention, some of the cast members will have really fun games that you can play to try to win some prizes. And there's another water bottle filling station right here. They actually have two in Galaxy's Edge, which is very nice. So right here we are seeing some spaceships. But that's not all that's over here, even though it's a really cool photo pass op. Right here, though, is one of the things that I love to check out while I'm here in Galaxy's Edge, and this is Resistance Supply. This cart and this cart over here. These are outdoor walk-up merchandise stands with Resistance-specific merchandise. So if you're looking to resist a little, maybe join the rebellion, this is going to be where you're going to find that merchandise. So this right here that I'm standing in front of is Rise of the Resistance. This attraction is a combination of trackless dark rides, walkthroughs, motion simulators, and a drop ride system. Did you hear all of that? All of the things that I just said, that's all just for Rise of the Resistance. It puts guests into the middle of an altercation between the Resistance and the First Order, and they have to save you. You have to figure out if you can get your way out. This is such an amazing experience. It is easily one of my favorite rides in all of Disney World. It is so immersive, and even if you're not a Star Wars person, it is an amazing, amazing experience. You do need to be at least 40 inches to get to experience this, but I highly recommend it. I have waited so long for this ride. If you can, I actually would recommend potentially buying the individual Lightning Lane for this ride and then not using Genie Plus, although of course we have done a Genie Plus experiment here in Hollywood Studios. So if you're curious to see what we say officially about how to use Genie Plus and this individual Lightning Lane, I would go check that out over on our channel. So when you're exiting Galaxy's Edge, you're gonna end up on Grand Avenue. Grand Avenue has a really special place in my heart because it used to be made up of the former Streets of America here in Hollywood Studios and the Muppets Courtyard. Now it's just called Grand Avenue, but it still has my Muppets here. So we're gonna head over to the right side and check it out. So first you're gonna find, what is my favorite thing to point out? The restrooms. Because who doesn't need to know where they are? Right here in the middle is Miss Piggy as Lady Liberty. She looks stunning. And then to my right is going to be Muppet Vision 3D. Muppet Vision 3D is a really fun show, of course, starring the Muppets here, and they are showing off their latest invention, which is Muppet Vision 3D. They're teaching you how they made it, how they used it, and then unfortunately, because it's the Muppets, some hijinks ensue. Fun fact, this was the last project that Jim Henson ever worked on before he passed away, and so there is a photo of him in here as a Muppet. Is the only place you can see this photo of him as the Muppet, and you kind of have to find it. It's a little bit hidden. So check it out next time you're in here. It's also a great place for AC, even if you're not a Muppets fan. Over to the left of Lady Liberty, Miss Piggy, is Pizza Rizzo. Pizza Rizzo is the quick service here in Muppets Courtyard, Grand Avenue. You're gonna find, you guessed it, pizza. That's what mainly is here. They do have some fun seasonal treats if you keep your eyes peeled. You can find some beer here as well. And although it's not my favorite quick service in the world, it is a good one that's just quick and easy for you and your family to come find some shade or seats inside. There is a store right over here to the right of Pizza Rizzo's. This used to be the Stage 1 company store. This is where you would find a lot of Disney art or even some Muppet merchandise. There I am in the mirror, in the reflection. But it has not opened since the pandemic. Same for this store over here. It's a wonderful shop. This is where you could get a lot of Christmas ornaments and Christmas themed items. This also has not reopened since the pandemic. In the very back of the courtyard is Mama Melrose Ristorante Italiano. This is going to be the resident Italian restaurant here in Hollywood Studios. I actually really love Mama Melrose. It's not necessarily one of the most popular ones here in Disney World, but I do really enjoy it. Here to the right, as you're exiting, is also a fun little stand where you can grab some Mickey brownies, churros, drinks, fun things like that. Not much, but it is there if you need it. Here at the end of Grand Avenue, Baseline Tap House. It is, of course, at the end of Grand Avenue, and it's this nice, lovely little bar that opens around 10:30 and goes until 8 p.m. They have drinks, ciders, beers, and even a few small plate options. This is one of my favorite bars in Disney World. I just love the atmosphere here. I think they have some really great drinks, and although it is one of my favorites, I have to admit, there's not a ton of seating. So as you can see, this is about it. All of this out here, there is one table inside that you can grab a seat at, but this is about it. So if maybe you want to grab a drink and keep walking, this is the place to go. Now that we have left Grand Avenue and we wrapped up over there, we are going to head into what is a little bit of a wasteland here in Hollywood Studios, and that is Commissary Lane. The first thing we're going to find here in Commissary Lane is going to be the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater Restaurant. It's a fun drive-in themed restaurant where you can sit down, and it's an amazing dining experience. It is a table service here in Disney World, so you do need a reservation. It's mainly made up of burgers and milkshakes and french fries, but you get to watch old clips while you're sitting in a car eating. It's really neat. It's a really cool experience. It might not be the best food in Disney World, but it's definitely one of my favorite restaurants just because it's such a neat experience. So it is a table service. If you want to try it, we highly recommend grabbing a reservation for that, which sometimes can be a little hard to find. Across the way from Sci-Fi is Mickey and Minnie starring in their Red Carpet Dreams. This is the Mickey and Minnie meet and greet here in Hollywood Studios, where you get to meet Minnie as she's getting ready for her world premiere debut, and you get to meet Mickey, who is in his sorcerer's costume. It is one of my favorite meet and greets, and I'm super excited that they finally brought it back after the pandemic. Finally, to round off our Commissary Lane bit, this is also, again, it's kind of a wasteland here in Hollywood Studios, so it's a little bit shorter, but this is ABC Commissary. This is a quick service here in Hollywood Studios, and it's actually my favorite quick service. It's themed to ABC and has memorabilia from ABC shows like Abbott Elementary, which, fun fact about me, it's one of my favorite shows. It has tacos, sandwiches, and salads. It's fun, it's different, it's not the same old that you're gonna get at a lot of the other quick services, and I think that's why I do like it so much. Pro tip, my favorite thing here is the shrimp tacos. The new section that we're heading into is Echo Lake. It is probably one of the biggest sections here in Hollywood Studios, and it's a little bit more spread out than the rest of them. So first, here on our right that we're gonna head into is Tatooine Traders. Tatooine Traders is the exit store of Star Tours. There is tons of Star Wars merchandise here, and you can even build your own lightsaber here. Although it's not as nice as Savi's, it's significantly cheaper. So maybe if you're not looking to drop a big buck, but you do want to design a lightsaber, you can do that here. It also does get pretty busy because it is the exit to Star Tours. It's $30 for a single lightsaber here and $45 for a double. Significantly cheaper than Savi's. Star Tours The Adventure Continues is a simulation ride, and it is different every single time you ride it. That's why I think it's so cool. It is not the newest of technologies, but it is really, really neat, and you get to take a flight through the galaxy. This ride actually features a lot of your favorites that you might not be able to find in Galaxy's Edge, such as Darth Vader, Leia, Yoda, R2, C-3PO, and a lot more, because it is different every single time.
To do something!
The first thing you're going to find to the right of Star Tours on Echo Lake is going to be Backlot Express Restaurant. It's a warehouse of good eating, as you can see. This is a quick service here in Hollywood Studios. It features burgers, chicken strips, Southwest salads, beer, wine, cocktails, all the good jazz. It is not necessarily my favorite quick service here, but it does have lots of seating, and you can mobile order, which I think is really important. You also can get the famous Wookiee cookie here, which is like a giant oatmeal cream pie, but better. So this spot here is called Celebrity Spotlight, where you can meet Olaf. There are actually more restrooms to the left of this, in case you're curious. This is just an Olaf meet and greet over here. It is kind of tucked in the back. This does have lightning lane in case you need it. Right next to the Celebrity Spotlight is Vacation Fun, which is an original animated short with Mickey and Minnie. So this is a fun combination of the new Mickey Mouse shorts. I think it's a great experience. You're just watching, you know, Mickey Mouse cartoons for a little bit. There's tons of fun little photo ops based on the cartoons that you watch as you exit, but you don't necessarily have to watch the cartoons if you don't want to. You can just come to the photo ops, and Potato Land's in here. If you know, you know. So right next to Mickey and Minnie Vacation Fun is Frozen Fractal Gifts. It is the exit to the Frozen sing-along. It's a Frozen and Princess merch store. It's not huge, but for those Frozen fans or the Princess fans, this is going to be a great little quick stop for you to see if there's any merchandise you just have to have in Hollywood Studios. We made it to the Frozen Sing-Along Celebration here at the Hyperion Theater. This is another show here in Hollywood Studios where Arendelle historians tell the story of how Elsa became Queen Elsa. And, of course, because they need to, Elsa, Anna, and Kristoff all pop in and out to help tell the story and correct maybe the historians a few times. This is a really fun Frozen Sing-Along show. I really enjoy it, even as an adult. This is a huge draw for kids. Anyone can enjoy it, and it's a 30-minute show, so lots of time in the AC, which is super nice. Straight across from Vacation Fun is going to be the Oasis Canteen. This is a walk-up bar that actually does have a full bar here, so you can get almost anything that you would like, and they have lots of fun specialty drinks, and they do have a 50th drink if you're here before the end of March 23. Right next to Oasis Canteen is Epic Eats. This is where you're going to find the funnel cakes here in Hollywood Studios. It is based on Indiana Jones, actually. It's really delicious, but it's mainly just funnel cakes here. And then to the left of Epic Eats, you're actually going to find Indiana Jones, the Epic Stunt Spectacular. A show where you get to cheer on Indy and Marion as they perform some amazing stunts with blazing special effects to demonstrate how they make the movies and how it's all done. It's really amazing. It's roughly 30 minutes long. It has great seating, huge fans, and it's a great place to cool off. And it's just a really good show, so I highly recommend this one. Dockside Diner is a quick service here in Hollywood Studios. It does not have any indoor seating. All of the seating for Dockside is outdoors, as you can see, even though they do have umbrellas. Dockside does have a little bit of a smaller selection compared to the other quick services here. They have things like shrimp rolls, crab dip, chicken salads, seaside brownies, lots of fun items, but definitely a specific kind. So if you're not into seafood, this might not be the best stop for you. So here to the left of Echo Lake is Peavy's Frozen Concoctions. This is where you can get blue raspberry, wild cherry, Minute Maid frozen lemonades. You can also get Jack Daniel's Tennessee and Whiskey Coke frozen. Lots of great stops. I love a good frozen Coke, so I'm here all the time. On the next stop for Echo Lake is Hollywood and Vine. So this is a character dining buffet that you can find here in Hollywood Studios. It has seasonal character dine, which means the characters dress up. You can also see Disney Junior characters if you're here for breakfast. Although it's not necessarily our favorite table service here in Hollywood Studios, it is a fun one, and we actually just reviewed it, so go check out that video on our channel. and now we're here at 50's Primetime Cafe. This is a table service restaurant here in Hollywood Studios, and it takes you back to the prime time of the 50s, where your cousins are your waiters and waitresses. And you know what? If you don't finish your vegetables, you're gonna get fussed at. I'm dead serious. I wish that was a joke, but that's super true. It has a lot of comforting home-cooked foods, very much comfort foods in my opinion. Chicken pot pies, fried chicken, lots of good, delicious things. I really actually love this. You can also find their famous peanut butter and jelly milkshake here. The Tune-In Lounge just basically is a walk-up bar attached to that restaurant. It's open from 10:45 to 9 p.m. They have beer, wine, cocktails, and it's just a nice, fun area to grab a drink and some AC. You also can grab a drink while you're waiting for your primetime reservation if you want to. We are headed to look at this girl. So this is Dinosaur Gertie's Ice Cream of Extinction. This is just a walk-up ice cream stand, and it just has your generic ice cream, your Mickey ice cream bars, vanilla ice cream, things like that. It's open from 11 to 5, but the reason I like it so much is one of the first ever animated creatures in all of film is this dinosaur. Her name is Gertie, and so that's why they added her here in Hollywood Studios, so that way they could pay homage to one of the first animated characters ever. One other fun fact that I just love to share because I love Hollywood Studios is when they were first conceptualizing Hollywood Studios, at this point, it was just Epcot and Magic Kingdom. Well, Magic Kingdom had Mickey as its mascot and Epcot had Figment, so they wanted Hollywood Studios to have a mascot. They landed on Roger Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's who they wanted to be the mascot. At the time, the movie was not as successful as they had hoped, so they decided to scrape that, but they left this poster up here, and then they left this window frame up here. So that's where Roger throws himself through the window. And then there's Eddie Valiant's private investigating window. Those are the last 3 little remnants. So he was supposed to be the mascot. It didn't work out, but they did leave a few signs up to honor him. So I hope that now that you've walked around with me and we've done our like ultimate tour, and I got to be like a great movie ride tour guide for the first and last time probably in my life, I hope you learned a lot. I hope this was super helpful. So if you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Now go check out my video on what crowds are really like in Disney's Hollywood Studios. I'll see you there.